Hey folks, how you guys doing? It's Will Patterson here, live from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, hanging out here with Dave.
I am right here, Willie. What is going on, man? How things going down in St. Thomas?
It's going real good. Got some music going on in the background. I like that. But we just had a snorkeling day today. Caught some sun. I had to shave the beard off the snorkel. I tried to snorkel a couple of days while I was down here. And yeah, it wasn't catching. So I was getting water in there and I was swallowing salt water. And if anybody's ever been down here to St. Thomas, they understand it has the most salinity. It has second most salinity of any open body of water in the world. So yeah, I was real thirsty and I had to go ahead and wash that down with a couple of adult beverages. So yeah.
We got Donnie Catherine that says hello. Al Miller says hello. Charlie Brown says hello.
Charlie.
We got a lot of people
that's good
watching and getting ready. What's up, Charlie? A good friend of mine, him and Michelle down there. So make sure you guys like and share the show. We got some big guests coming up, Willie, and I hear we got some breaking news that's going to be coming on here shortly.
Yeah, we'll leave that up to Zach, but it's going to be really good. How was your weekend, Dave?
Oh, my weekend was great. We had another 2-day show out at Paynesville Speedway, Friday and Saturday. The Figure 8 Outlaw Division raced on Saturday out there. I had the Saturday off for the event. I just sat there and chilled out, hung out with my girlfriend and her kids. That was pretty fun. Took him around the pits and got a couple checkered flag signed. They did a little autograph session. So he got he got his checkered flag signed, got his picture taken with a couple drivers. So he was good to go, man. He was good to go.
Cool. That's cool. So yeah, as you guys know, I'm down here on vacation, having a good time. Had a little technical issue, and it was on my side this time. And I'm proud of myself because I actually fixed my computer on my own. Anybody knows me, I am not savvy when it comes to the technical stuff. So kind of proud of myself on how I got this figured out. But so what we're going to do is Dave, let's get the sponsors. Let's get the Zach. Let's get this show rolling, man. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. But now I got a little bit of technical difficulty. So go ahead and read through them. Let me get to, I don't know what happened here, but go ahead and get through them. Willie, nothing like having a show with some stuff that's going on, right?
Yeah, right. I know. Just wouldn't be us. So you can't pull up the sponsors?
I'm going to try that right now. I might have to back out and come back in, but you'll still be live.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what? We'll pull those sponsors in at the end of the show. Let's just get to Zach. Can you bring in Zach?
I can bring in Zach.
Okay, then let me go ahead and give Zach his introduction here. Rightfully so.
I'm going to take myself off camera and work on this real quick, Willie.
You go ahead and go do that, Dave. So, as you guys can see, we have the bearded wonder on here. We have Zach Gibson. He is the grandson of legendary super modified driver Todd Gibson. Zach has 25 total feature wins in his career. He is a 4-time 305 Super Sprint champion. He is also the 2010 MSA Rookie of the Year, the 305 Oswego Speedway track record holder, KillCare track record holder, and Auto City, Michigan track record holder. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Zach Gibson, race director of the 350 Outlaw Super Modified Series. Zach, how you doing? And what is going on with that beard, brother?
I'm doing great, Will. Thanks. First of all, you want to give all these updates about how great it is in Florida and down in the Keys or wherever it is that you're at.
I would never do such a thing.
Here in sunny Ohio, my puddles were starting to get dried out, and thankfully we got some more rain today to help fill them back up for us. So all the puddles are staying nice, full of water, and we're super happy that the puddles aren't drying out anytime soon.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear that Ohio's still up to its typical weather.
Yeah. Yep.
I always try to tell. I just like to go ahead and let everybody know what it's like not living in Ohio. I lived there for 38 years, and yeah, don't miss it. I miss the people, not the weather. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yep. So, Zach, we got to ask, what's going on with that beard, brother?
I think I can grow a pretty good beard. And one day when Dave grows up, he can grow one like this too. But it's just something. It's just something I do. Honestly, it's probably more out of laziness than anything. And I typically grow it out. And then, as many or some of you may know, I coach my daughter's softball teams and things along that nature. So I usually will set a goal for them at the beginning of the year, like, hey, if you win this many games, like I'll bring a trimmer and y'all can shave my beard off.
Right.
And it's typically something that's pretty fun, and we've done that every year. But this year I'm not the head coach, so I didn't really get a chance to do that. So I don't know if we're just going to keep going. I think this is about as long as it gets. It just gets thicker and thicker. But
right. Well,
but yeah,
go for it, brother. Go. You know, it's for a good cause for the girls. You know, I mean, obviously, you're not the coach this year, but I mean, maybe the girls will come over on the other side of the fence and be like, "We're still going to get it." You know. So yeah. So Zach, you're the race director for the 350 Super Modified Series there out of Ohio. Let's hear some news, man. What's going on? You know, I'm a big fan of you guys. I promote the hell out of you guys. I really see big things coming out of you guys. I see the car count is growing constantly. Every year there's more cars being built. There's more cars being made. I'm loving it. I'm loving you guys. You and your dad. I shouldn't say you guys. You and your dad and your mom. God bless your mom. All right. That's all I got to say for what Amen. She has to put up with. So, you guys came up with this crazy idea of saying, hey, look, let's pull these old Supers out of the barn and put in a small block 350 engine in there. And we're going to go race. And we're going to race these things like they do in the New England area, like they do in the Oswego area. And it seems to be really taking off. You guys got a really big rookie class this year, it seems like. So it's going to be pretty awesome. So you got any news of what's going on with you guys?
Yeah. So just to button that up, right? Full disclosure, my dad told me probably 2 years before he started this series, like, hey, this is what I want to do. What do you think? And if you look back at any of the forum messages, I think you were probably one of the proponents. Maybe you were an opponent of it at that time. I vocally, like, this is a terrible idea. Like, asphalt sprint. Well, and my reason may be different than yours. You know, asphalt sprint cars were not surviving in Ohio. 305 asphalt sprint cars, right? That series came, blossomed, and died.
Yep.
Unfortunately, or definitely unfortunately to me, maybe fortunately for somebody else. And I just sit back and I'm like, if we can't get people to buy a sprint car and maintain a sprint car, and those of you who don't know, taking a sprint car to a racetrack on asphalt, dirt, whatever, is 1,000 times easier than rolling a super modified to the track. I mean, you have to have special loading tires for your super. You have to have special everything just to, everything's handmade. It is just a tremendous, am I allowed to cuss? Pain in the ass. To get it to the track. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, when I raced the 305 Sprint Series, I mean, I could show up with just me and my wife. I could show up with me and my cousin Adrian, and it would just be us two, and we could win a race that night with just two people there. You can barely push a super modified out of the trailer with two people. It's just a pain in everything that you do, getting buckled in, getting this, getting that. So. And I was vocal on that. I'm like, it's a dumb idea. Like, it'll never work. Like, these people don't want to maintain a sprint car. What makes you think they're going to want to maintain a super modified? And that's probably where I underestimated the fanatic part of a fan when it comes to super modifieds. Obviously, I think the super modified fans are the best fans there are. And a lot of those fans, they had dreams and they're like, hey, I want to drive a super modified. Maybe I can't get a big block. Maybe I don't have that money to spend, but this is my next option. And young to old, the fanatics of the super modified series, they've all come out of the woodwork and they've all done well. It took probably 2 years, right, for us to get any kind of footing. I think it was last winter. I finally looked at my dad. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna let you know I was wrong. Like, I never saw this happening. And after he woke up from passing out on the floor for me saying I was wrong, you know, it was just different. I mean, I'm surprised by its growth, but it's cool to see. But it's all him, right? I didn't support it in the beginning. I thought it was a dumb idea. And even now, I mean, I think I guide him, but during the off season, I'm very hands off. Like I don't have conversations with people. I try to keep myself away from it as much as possible, so that way I can, you know, do things with my kids and whatnot. You know, growing up, it was racing, family, then everything else.
Right.
100%. And that's the way I grew up, and that was the way it was. And I don't regret it. I loved it, obviously. But then after my accident, I kind of took a step back, and I'm like, hey, maybe there's a few other more important things in life. So when people ask me, hey, what, you know, do you miss racing? Do you miss that? You know, I kind of equate it to anytime I go to the racetrack, it's like taking a recovering alcoholic to a bar. You see the smells, you see the former competitors, right? I'm looking at them, I'm like, man, I used to beat you. Like, how the hell are you out there doing that good? Like, I know I could still do that, but then I need to go home and I need to play softball with my kids. And I'm like, okay, we're back, we're good. And it just, so the series is doing great. And I'm proud of everything my dad's done.
Right.
Like I said, I do the rules, I do the procedures, I do the stuff on race day. I constantly get compliments about my voice and my demeanor and my approach in the booth, that the drivers appreciate that we're not panicking up there. We're just, you know, going about things methodically. And that's hard. It took me 2 years to probably get where I'm comfortable. And even then, like sometimes, you know, maybe as a fan and a race director, right? Like I'm watching the show, you know, knowing that I have to look at the track, I have to look for debris, I have to look for a wreck, I have to look for all this.
Yep.
And there's a hell of a race going on for the lead, and you're like, oh, look over here. And that happened with Doug's flip on the high miler. Like there was something else going on, and I you know, I'm scanning the best I can, but you get enthralled with something, and then all of a sudden you hear something and you look up and you're like, oh shit, and you have to grab the radio and you have to start communicating and you have to start, you know, bringing everybody to the right spot and do this. And, you know, so
and just to reiterate, it's the same as a flagman too. You know, you get caught up in the race, and it's when the race fan, the kid comes out of you, and you kind of got to just, whoa, I gotta look at this back here because there's a battle going on back here, or your friends in the lead or something like that, one of your personal friends, and you got to kind of separate yourself from that stuff, type of stuff too, you know. So trust me, I understand, I get it, and to also reiterate, when they said they were going to bring in small block 350s to Ohio, I said that's it. Screw it. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's stupid. I'm against this 100%, because part of me was, I knew that it would succeed, and I knew that it would do what it's doing right now. Yeah. And it's killing the big block super modifieds in Ohio. Slow death, but it's killing them. Good for you. Bad for the big blocks. Is it the future? I've already said it on this show multiple times. They are the future, and people need to start getting their act together and start figuring it out. And you guys are proof of that. I mean, Oswego gets what, 6, 8? I mean, you guys are right now looking at maybe 14 to 16 cars for opening day, maybe.
Yep. Yeah. On a consistent basis. And I think we'll push 20 to 24 cars on occasional events.
Thank you.
So it, you know, and I think we should clarify, right? Myself, my dad, any of the sponsors, the Outlaw 350 Super Series as a group are not looking forward to the demise of big block supers.
Oh,
we're not actively cheering it on. We're not trying to
not
push
saying
them
that
into their grave. And I'm not saying you are, but I'm sure there's some thoughts out there. So, you know, that's not the intent. The intent was just to provide the hobbyist racer a place that a playground, right? Someplace
Right.
that they can go and they can have fun and they can compete to win. And that's, we've done things like a slow heat and a fast heat. So that way, some of the guys who maybe would never stand a chance against Todd Buchanan, who has 1.5 million laps around Sandusky Speedway,
Yes.
you know, give them
Absolutely.
a real chance against equal competition.
Yep.
And to grow the series, we had to start with what people had. We couldn't just, and I say we, my dad, right? Couldn't just start the series with crate engine, period. In the story, it would have never worked. We had to allow people to run what they had. We had to allow the guys who were fed up putting fenders on their street stocks every week to take their engine out of their street stock and move it over to a super, because it's something they always wanted to do, and they were getting really tired of hanging bodies.
Right.
And from that, right, then we have to slowly reel those guidelines in until we got to where we are now. We put out our rules this year. Obviously, there was, I'd say, a mixed bag of reviews. I got a lot of messages saying, "Hey, really like what you guys are doing." Other messages, "You guys are stupid. You don't know what you're doing." Full disclosure, we don't, right? We've never done this before. Nobody's ever done it before. We don't know what the hell we're doing. I'm not an engine builder. I don't know how to put together. I mean, I could, I'm a mechanic by trade. I can put together the engine, but you want me to put together a high performance engine? I'm not your guy, right? There's people out there that do that for a living, and there's a reason why they do it for a living. So I have to rely on the subject matter experts on what.
Hey,
I saw
not to interrupt you, but I believe your dad or your mom or both.
It's definitely my dad. He's at work, so he said, "Hey," he's like, "I'll try to get on there if I can in my break." But we had to. I forget where my train of thought was.
I'm sorry, you said you don't know what you're doing. You guys just started this.
So we had to consult, right, the subject matter experts. Right? I had to talk to some engine guys, but I had to try to find an engine guy that didn't have any skin in the game, right? So when we wrote the rules, I told my dad, I'm like, well, we should just really do just 5 years, throw a 5-year stamp on it, give people confidence that we're going to do something and we're going to stick by it, and this is the set of rules we're going to go with. And people are like, "Oh, why would you not allow, what was one of the issues? The lifters, tie bar lifters. Why wouldn't you allow tie bar lifters?" And it's like, well, it's like a gateway drug, right? For all of this stuff. If what, you and I can talk about this, and it may fall off on some of the other listeners, but what killed the 305 series? Was it power steering? Was it aluminum right rear wheel? Was it the all pro head? Was it the aluminum front wheels? Was it cantilever suspension? Was it none of them, right? None of them individually killed the series, but they were all gateway drugs until it finally killed itself.
Yeah, right. And the thing is about the 305 series, I came in like right at the end of the demise, like it got given to me, and it was like, here you go. And I'm like, oh yeah, what is going on here?
Here's this
the problem. Right. Yeah. And the problem is that there's, I have to think at the time, there's like maybe 12 or 14 cars at the time, and 12 or 14 cars all wanted this part. This guy wanted that part. This guy wanted that part. This guy wanted that part. And I've talked to your dad on the phone numerous times. I probably talked to him, during the winter, once a month, during racing season, probably once a week. And the thing is that, and we've talked, and him and I have talked about this, and we've talked about this over the wintertime. You and I talked, and it was one of those deals to where this is your guys' deal. Do not let the prisoners run the asylum. And your dad is like staying strong on that. And also with the 5-year stamp, and this is where we're going to go. This is where we're going to stay. And then we'll revisit it in 5 years and then go from there. And I think that's what killed 305 sprint cars.
I agree 100%. And I get messages from guys like Dave Saxer, about, hey, and he had his opinion on where he thought it went wrong as well, right? So everybody knows that it wasn't just one thing; it was game.
Right.
But it's super hard to be the bad guy sometimes, right? I can be an asshole if I need to be, but it's still hard to be the bad guy. when you have all these people like, oh, well, I want to be able to pick a different push rod length. It's like, well, I get it. There's no horsepower gain in it. There's no this. It makes the geometry better, makes things last longer, but it's a gateway. So we gave on a few of the items after consulting. Like our local engine builder is the biggest one that we went with because he doesn't build engines for anybody in circle track racing. He doesn't build engines anymore at all. He just does machine work. But I just consulted with him whenever I had a question that I didn't know the answer to. Right? I have engine builders sending messages like, "Oh, you're stupid. You don't know what you're doing." You're right. I don't. But I'm going to talk to somebody that I have full faith in, who built all of my engines. I never blew one. Great guy. And that's kind of how we went with it. Jack Smith was another guy that I think is a very true individual who's not gonna BS, not gonna have an angle to gain out of it. Just somebody who is knowledgeable and can provide me with some kind of guidance.
Right.
So it's been full disclosure. You said my dad's been holding strong. It's been a back and forth, right? So he'll call me one day, be like, "Hey, somebody really wants this. What do you think?" And I'm like, "We got to say no. Like it sucks. I know that you can find this part over here $100 cheaper.
Yep.
It sucks, but we got to stop."
Yeah.
And then somebody will send me a message, and I'll call them and be like, "Hey," and it's just kind of like we're leaning on each other to not fold and not let the prisoners run the asylum.
Yeah, and that's essentially what you guys got to do. So, how close? I get this question all the time, and I got you on the show. Let's just cut straight to the point here.
Let's do it.
How close are Ohio Super Modifieds to Oswego Super Modifieds engine rules?
Yeah. So first of all, we'll start with this one as well, right? We're not here to bash any other track. We're not saying they're doing it wrong, and you're not saying that, but I'm clarifying it before any of my comments get taken out of context.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm not here to say that they're doing anything wrong. I do see it on the forums, right? That we were the first ones to do it, and everyone should do it the way we did. Well, you don't let sprint cars run. We do. So we're clearly not seeing the same thing. We're building our series. We think we're doing the right thing, and only time will tell. So how close are they? I believe we're on equal footing, personally. We're on equal footing with, and honestly, maybe even a little behind the front runners at Oswego, at Lee or the Star. Sorry.
Yeah,
you're right. I'm getting a lot of hate for that one. But anyways, I got a message when we first did our comment period that said, "Hey, why did you guys stick with keeping your, quote unquote, open motor package to the same weight as Oswego and all those other ones?" And my response was simple. It's just our belief is that a factory 604 engine is rarely, if ever, utilized without any modification in any series.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Right. So we can grandstand on different things where, we have a sealed engine, we have a program, we know what you don't. Right. With any amount of money, somebody's going to find their way around it. And that's just the truth of the matter. So what we have tried to have done is provide ourselves with the tools to be able to enforce the rules that we have. I can't ask, I see John Evans' name popping up all the time here. I can't ask them to pull their engine and take it to Griff's the day after a race and have it dynoed. That's just not feasible. It's a pain in the ass to work on a super modified, and it's expensive. Who's paying for that dyno bill?
Yeah.
So we have to have the tools to do it. So, right, we want an inspection plug on the oil pan, so that way we can stick a borescope camera right in there and check to see what the crank is. I bring that up because we had an engine recently that has, not we, but the series, and this is rumor, an engine came from the Northeast that had all of the factory seals on it. Everything was legit. And somehow, because you can't modify their engines and transport from the Northeast to Northern Ohio, the crank lost 14 to 16 pounds. So
You're
we're
not-
going to
you're
do
not a diet.
so what we're going to do is we're going to ship a couple engines back and forth and see if that mysteriously happens. And if it does, then we know that there's something going on at the freight stations, and we'll have to investigate that. But if not, somebody has figured a way out of how to get their sealed engines with lightweight cranks, and who knows what else, right? It's happening. You just have to be able to catch it, and that's where we're at. Is we think that by allowing the local guy who wants, if they spin a bearing on a crank, man, I don't want you to have to pay $5,000 to go buy another crate engine. It's still really cheap, but I don't want you to have to do that. If you can fix the crank on your own, if you can replace the burnt piston, whatever it is, we want you to be able to do it, but we also want to have some guidelines in there. So our rule book is essentially a direct copy of the 604 user manual. And I try to spell it out as explicitly as possible. Tried to put a lot of shall statements in there, probably overdid it. But I wanted it to be somewhat bulletproof, somewhat just very intact, that there was no gray area for something that was written down.
Right. No, and that makes sense. I mean, because theoretically, that's what, and I'm saying this, not Zach. Will from Tight End Loose Out is saying this. The host of the show is saying this. You're right. Exactly. This is me saying this. Technically, the Star and Lee cars and Oswego cars are all supposed to be stock 100% 604s. And if you guys in Ohio have the same thing, then from what I'm reading is that they're the same motor, same engine, and they should be allowed to. I mean, I don't see why not. They're sealed, but they're not in their special sealed program that Lee and Star and Oswego has, that they want you to pay $1,500 a year to get into their sealed program. And then on top of that, you have to pay for their seals on top of it. I'm sorry if I'm getting excited. I'm yelling and I'm getting a little loud. You guys might have to turn on your phones, laptops, or whatever, but it doesn't make any sense. You have sealed motors. These are the builders that you trust. You trust these people and say, look, here you go. If we find your motor illegal, your tech, that means Oswego Tech, that means the Outlaw 350 Tech, that means Lee's Tech and Star's Tech. If they do their job, then they're going to find out who is cheating, period. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to throw any tracks or any series under the bus, but there's been known to go ahead and be some lackadaisical teching going on, and you guys can read between the lines and figure it out who it is. Okay. I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but it's coming to a head, and you guys have done everything possible to get to where they are. And our guys are bitching up a storm. And it's one of those things where it's, what are you trying to do, Zach? What are you trying to do, Zach? Well, I'm trying to go ahead and get it to where we can all three run together. I prayed to one day that we see 8, 10, 12 350s from Oswego and Lee and Star come down to Sandusky to run High Miler one year, or come run the Gibson Memorial race one year, or and come run those races to where you guys have 30 cars, 35 cars. And get that, and to where our cars, and I shouldn't say our, because I live in Florida now, right? So I'm kind of being biased when I say our, because I'm still looking at myself as Ohio.
Vested interest.
Yeah, it's one of those deals to where to see the Ohio guys go up to Oswego and run the Classic, maybe go run the Star Classic. Like, hey, look, I want to go run the Star Classic, the 350 portion of it, where they can go. Oh God, me and your dad's had this conversation 1,000 times. Like, and he wants this. This is what he wants. You want this. Everybody wants it. It's they just got it. Not we. I can't say we. I have no money invested in your guys' series at all. But just, other than conversation with you guys.
Yeah.
But it's one of those deals to where that's what Larry wants. That's what you want, but it's the other two that are fighting against it on what it is. And if you guys are finding engines that are coming from the Northeast that are coming to the Midwest, and they're getting teched before they're getting, put together, and say, wait a minute here, this ain't jiving.
Yep.
Something ain't right here.
Yep.
So I don't know.
And that rumored engine has one, that rumored engine has won races at both places. So
yeah. What's up? Hold on, I got Rich DeWitt here. It goes, "What's up, Willie? Getting pumped up for the 31st and finally have to throw a black flag at me." I have no problem doing that. I have no problem throwing out that black flag. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite flags to do. And I expect to get a middle finger from it also as well. So, yeah. Is that Zach Gibson or Zach Jedediah Yoder from Chris Myers? Yes.
I do live right around Kenton, Ohio. And if you look that up, there's a pretty big Amish community right around here. But no, unfortunately, I'm not a part of any of them.
So you guys are going to go and have them drill an inspection hole. In the pan. You guys are going to check the cranks. I have talked to somebody. He told me that they are marking parts, and they will be able to see with the scope. If those parts are not marked, then you're done. You're disqualified.
Yeah. And we have had to unfortunately disqualify 2 people already. It wasn't fun to do. It wasn't great, but I think it just as hard as it is for us to be the bad guy. I think it's hard for those other people to be the bad guy too. It sucks, right? You don't want to disqualify anybody. You in both of those cases, we tried multiple times to find a way to not do it, and in hindsight, that was probably wrong. We should have probably just said, "Yep, that was the rule." End of story. Sorry, but we tried, right? I've heard stories about guys, modifying the intake manifold, right? They're literally welding the spacer to the intake manifold, drilling it, bead blasting it, everything to make it look like a factory part.
That's the old Mark Martin trick right there from back in the day. Cost him a championship.
So we have a factory intake manifold and we have a tape measure, right? So it pop the carb off. We're going to shove a tape measure. It doesn't have to be, I don't believe, a complicated process. It just has to have something that looks at it. If I'd never once cheated on any of our engines. I think if you look back at any of the videos, you could, nobody ever looked at Zach Gibson's car and went, "Man, he has a big ass engine." Like he is that was never the case. My engine was tore down multiple times. So every time we took it to the engine builder, we said, "Hey, like our engine's going to get tore apart. Here's the rules. Do whatever you can." And if there's that threat there, that, hey, they're actually walking through the pits and they're actually teching us and they're actually disqualifying people, that tends to rein it in a little bit. I know when I was looking up the rules, I was trying to find, ways around them is the biggest thing. I stumbled into this website, and I forget, maybe it's like Circle Track Supply or something like that. And they have, send us your 604 heads, we'll cheat them up and they'll never be able to find it. And I was like, that seems pretty damn easy too, right? You just send it to them and it wouldn't tell you what they did, obviously, because I dug and tried to find, but I couldn't. I don't know what they do, but they're doing something. And it was almost tempting to take one of our heads and send it to them under a guise, just to see if we could, when we got it back, just so we could know what somebody's doing to them to cheat that way. Because that will be the demise of our series as well, is if they, if we continually are not able to catch people who are cheating or who are living outside of the rules or any of that stuff. It's just, the way it is, right? You have to be able to rein that in, and if you don't, it'll be one of the biggest downfalls of our series.
Yeah, well, it's going to fall right back into what happened to the Buckeye Super Sprint Series, the 305 sprint car, asphalt sprint cars in Ohio.
Yep.
And it's exactly what it's going to fall back into, and
Yep.
for sure. So Chris Myers brought up a question, and I'm going to ask you. He goes, "I have a question. Were they running that way before you DQ'd them?"
Like as in multiple races?
Yes.
I can't say for certain. I don't think so. I think we, one of them I think was an honest mishap with a driver exchange without verifying the weights, and it was unfortunate for that. And the other one, I think it happened that day, and it got taken care of that day.
Well, the thing is that hats off to you guys for catching it. I mean, I had a discussion yesterday with the old school super modified driver, and he's told me from back in the day, and I'm sure your dad can probably tell stories from back in the day too, where it's like, oh, well, that's such and such. We can't DQ him because that's such and such, multi-time winner and champion. Like we can't DQ him.
Yeah.
But but yet if the little guy tries to pull that same move, we got to DQ him. So you guys are keeping it level. You guys are keeping a level playing field. I don't care who you are, you're going to have to go and play by the same rules, whether you're the top qualifier or whether you're the slowest qualifier. Everybody's got to play by the same rules.
To the best of our abilities, yeah.
Somebody just got back from the pools. So yeah. Let's see here. Chris Myers had something else. He goes, I was just wondering, it made it sound like they were working on a resolution for multiple races. Thanks for answering.
No, but when I said we were trying to find a way, it was after the race and before the quote unquote official DQ happened.
Right.
We tried. Something I've worked on with my dad is we've tried not to jump to immediate conclusion. Like when something happens, we don't just go, oh, DQ, done, out of here. Like we go back, we reread the rule. Like, is this a true interpretation, a true application of this rule? Is there any gray area? Is there anything that we can see here? We, in the case of weight, like we rolled it off. We tried to weigh it again. Like it we've bought a certified, it's like a class K weight or something, big in metrology, you'll know, but other than that, it's in the weeds. So it's a certified weight that we have, and I now, after we weigh a car, I put it on each corner, right? I drop a 50-pound weight on the left front. Did the left front go up 50.0 pounds? Yes. Okay. Left rear 50. Yep. Just to make sure that we're not missing anything.
Yeah. Make sure your scales are true.
Yep. That's the biggest thing. And it's just little things, and not jumping to conclusions and trying to go about it methodically, and not in the heat of the moment when that happens, tempers flare from all angles. And I'm probably the most level-headed Gibson there has ever been, but that doesn't mean that I'm always level-headed, right? We all escalate each other, right? When somebody starts yelling, another person yells, like we all have to yell. And maybe it's because I've grown up around Todd and Gene Lee and everybody screaming at each other all the time, that I'm able to tone that out and at least try to bring it back down to a normal level and try to have a conversation while it's all going down.
Yeah. Your grandpa and your uncle, definitely. Yeah. Fury tempers. And your dad was no saint back in the day either, though.
No, none of them were, right? No, there's none of it. And I've had my moments, as we all do. It just we try our best, right? And I just think that growing up in that environment, right? I can remember working on race cars, and it was actually, I think we were getting ready for we were getting ready for Killcare or Heimeiler, actually, after Terry was killed. And my grandpa was at the garage. My dad was at work, and we'd blown an engine and we were putting another one in. And we have an overhead chain hoist, and I'm, just going to town with the chain hoist, lowering it down. And my grandpa kind of grunts at me like, hey, and I'm like, what? And he was like, get it off my, and I looked over it and he had his hand on top of the frame rail and I had just put the full weight of a 305 steel block onto his hand. He didn't scream. He just, with the Todd tone, right? Get this thing off my hand. And I'm like, oh shit. So I pull it back up, I'm ready to get my ass reamed. And he just, he just kind of shakes his hand off. Like, okay, let's get this thing in. Like he was the toughest son of a bitch there was, but, just right. In a way, I'm mostly thankful that, my kids saw a different version of my grandpa than what I saw when I was little. I mean, when I was little, my grandpa had the trophy room, right? He had the trophy room, and us grandkids, you can ask any of my cousins, you didn't go inside that trophy room. You weren't allowed to touch the trophies. Like you could go in there and you could like be in awe of all of the stuff he had. But then as a seeing my kids with him, like my grandpa would have never handled me as a baby, would have never had anything to do with me. Obviously helped me out with like if I wanted to drive a 4-wheeler around or something, he would let us do stuff like that. He wasn't absent, but very different from what my kids got to see of him.
Right.
So just that environment helps us do the things that we do now.
Yep. No, absolutely. Zach, is there anything more else that you want to get off your chest here? I appreciate you having on. I'm going to probably bring you back on again. I'd like to bring your dad on, but he said leave that up to you. So
yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine talking with you. On here. I talk to him enough on the phone as it is. So I know Larry's watching. So Larry, I'm just kidding with you. But is there any other breaking news coming out that you want to get out there?
I don't think there is, honestly. I know we're putting together some stuff for the Shady Bull race, and I've been on them to get that out and get it public that there's going to be some more money for that race. I believe it's an open weekend for Oswego. We want to see more cars down here. We want to work with Oswego. We want to work with those guys. We want we want to work together, but also we want you to understand that we are working with what we have in Ohio, right? This is what's working for us and it's going well. And I believe we are on an extremely equal playing field. And if the last race of the year at Sandusky doesn't show it, if the car is going to New York for the Classic doesn't show it, I don't know what else we can do. The proof is there. I also think that maybe if the fear is that we're going to come and outrun them, then let us send a car or two up there to run as it is. Let's see. Let's see. I don't understand. I mean, I guess I probably see it from both ways eventually, but I don't understand the point of blockading the cars from coming up and trying, right?
Well, I mean, look, the guys came down from New York. They came down to Sandusky Speedway. They were just as competitive. Hell, they were battling for the lead, for Christ's sakes. Granted, the two best cars in the series were out of the race. So it's really not a fair comparison. But with that being said, I think there needs to be a little bit of cha-cha dancing back and forth to where it's like, look, we're going to let your guys just come down. Let us send a couple guys up there. Let them start last. Just, give them money, whatever, for driving up there. Let them start last and see where they finish. If they start up there and then it might be like, oh, well, you know what? Their motor rules are worse than ours, and they're slower. So Ohio guys want to come up and run. Yeah, you guys come on up here and run. And then when those 5 years are up, then you guys can all sit down and say, listen, we are going to go to this rule. I mean, that's me spitballing. The series is yours. I'm just, giving my 2 cents.
I get it. And maybe the sealed is the sealed route is the end game. Maybe I can't speak for that for now, but I do know that what we're doing now, I think, is going to help our series grow.
I think so too.
I think it pissed a few people off in the beginning, but in the end, I think most of them came around. And and I even had the conversation with my dad when they first came out, and we were getting some hate from some of the guys that run with us normally. That we're not looking for growth over one season. We're looking for growth over multiple seasons. So if we have to hurt somebody's feeling this year to gain 4 cars next year, then I guess, unfortunately, we have to hurt somebody's feelings this year so that way we can get 4 cars next year.
Well, like the famous Jerry Rich always said from Oswego Speedway, this is my sandbox. This is my rules. If you don't like it, don't come,
Yep.
and that's just kind of the way you guys have to just look at it. And
Yep.
you guys are building something here. I was totally 100% against this. Now literally last year, I got 100% on board. I'm even more
Yep.
on board this year. I love what you guys got going on. And I just want to say, I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing, because I've been, and you know this, Zach, okay, I've been in your seat before, directly in your seat. And I know what it takes to do your job. And it's a thankless job, whether it's in the flag stand or whether it's in the box. It doesn't matter. It's a thankless job, and everybody wants to go. And I'm speaking right now. Everybody thinks that it's easy job to do. When I was a race director at Sandusky, I invited somebody to come up there in the tower and said, "You know what? Come up here with me for one day and see what I have to go through." He didn't make it past, I think, the second heat race of the day, and said, "How can you deal with this stuff?" I'm like, it's the people you race with.
Yep.
So, when it comes to rules, that's 20 times worse, So stay the course, keep doing what you guys are doing. I'm a believer. I think you guys got a lot of people in the Midwest believing. You're starting to get a following, and just keep it going. Keep your social media flowing. You guys, I'm always accepting you guys' stuff that's coming up on Talking Super Modified. And, just keep pushing that. And I really honestly feel that you guys are going to have a great following in here in the future.
Yeah. Kevin Sears does a great job with the Facebook, the social media, all that stuff. Without him, you wouldn't see any of the stuff that you do. I don't have enough time to sit down and put that stuff together, and my dad can't do Facebook that well. So what you see is completely that's on him, and it's very appreciated. And Denny Watson helping us out with tech, and everybody that's there. That's Greg Willis stepping forward every year and helping out with the points fund is huge. It's huge. Without him, we probably wouldn't. We also wouldn't be able to be where we are today without his support. And all the people that he brings on board for us. We have O'Reilly's. Not the local O'Reilly's. We have O'Reilly's national brand sponsoring the Todd Gibson Memorial Race at Lorain County Speedway,
that's huge.
It's huge. It's amazing. That's not just your local parts store. It's the national brand. There's obviously something behind this, and it's moving forward, and it's cool to be a part of it. I'm thankful to be wrong, that this was a success, and I appreciate you having us on. I appreciate all the support you give us. Appreciate all the fans, all the drivers, and Dave for everything he does. And we're at Lorain County Speedway up there complaining about everybody. Just kidding. I won't tell anybody who you're complaining about.
Only you, Zach. I only complain about you.
When I'm not there. Yeah.
So, well, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's close this out. Zach, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. Man, I appreciate this so much. I appreciate all my guests coming on, and I appreciate you airing out, what's came up and what's going on and what the future is with the series. I can't wait. I'm watching with great anticipation in Naples, Florida. And with that being said, you take care, buddy, and we'll be talking real soon.
Yep. Thanks. Look forward to coming on again.
Bye-bye. All right, Zach. We'll see you on June 7th, bud.
See you later.
All right. Is Woody still on?
Woody is still on. Willie, do you want to get to the sponsors right now? You just wait to the end of the show.
We'll wait till the end of the show. We got to roll. We got to roll.
There you go.
So, hey, there's the man right there. So let's introduce our next guest here. His name is Russ Wood. He's the 2017 New England Auto Racers Hall of Famer. He has 52 wins all time on the ISMA series. He's won the High Miler in 1995, 1996, 1997, and 2003. He's won it 4 times. He's won the Star Classic 7 times, ladies and gentlemen. 7 times he's won the Star Classic: 97, 99, 02, 03, 04, 2011, and 2012. He is a Star Speedway track champion from 1988, 1989, and 2000. And the reason why it probably took so long because he was too busy kicking everybody's ass in ISMA over all those years. He didn't have enough time to get back. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only Russ Wood. I wanted to say something else, but yeah, it's Russ Wood. Russ fucking Wood.
Well, thanks for having us on, Will.
How you doing, Woody?
I'm doing good, doing great. Can't complain.
Yeah. So just to give you guys a little heads up here, Woody is literally on the side of the road. He's, everybody knows that he has a towing service, and when it calls, he has to run, and he's doing this from his truck. I thought we might have to postpone it, but Russ said, nope, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And I said, okay, all right. So he's been sitting patiently, letting us get through Zach, and so we can get to him. And I just want to say thank you very much, Russ, for coming on the show. This means a lot to me, more than you'll ever know. You're a legend, Russ.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's a pleasure, and we all in the super modified world appreciate what you do for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It means a lot. So, Russ, as I always start with everybody, let's go back to the beginning. What was your first race car?
At the time, it was called a rookie stock. It was just a street car. You took the windows out, and you went to Hudson Speedway. We went first time we went, we almost didn't make it. The car, we come to a stop sign, the car rolled off the trailer, and we put the car on backwards, and the hitch went through the gas tank, or the crank for the trailer. So that was our first event. And we did that mid-season. We went to Hudson with that, and that hooked us, me, my father, my brother. And the following year, I built a street stock, a Camaro, with the help of the guidance of a local guy, Pete Frappia, who guided me on how his Camaro was. And I think first year in the street stock, we ran Hudson and Star. I think we won like 7 races. Had some motor issues, but we learned a lot, and we were hooked in from there. And the following year, I bought a Pro Stock, which actually Dick Armstrong owned from Stafford Speedway, and the Bodines drove it. It was a Nova body #1, and we figured we did what we did in the street stocks. We're going to move ahead, and we brought that Pro Stock home, put a Camaro body on it, and then we ran. Some nights we ran 3 nights a week: Monadnock on Fridays, Star on Saturdays, Hudson on Sundays. So I got quite a bit of experience with that, racing against a lot of the top local guys, the top dogs and that. And I paid for a lot myself that year, and it was frustrating. We had some more issues, like I said, and I was ready to quit racing at the end of the year. And Joe Barry, who owned a Super at the time, that I think either Dave Thomas or Larry Record drove it just before me, he asked me through a friend of his if I wanted to drive a Super Modified. And I was like, oh, I was quitting racing, but we'll give it a whirl. So that was a long winter, kind of nerve-wracking of what it would be like to drive one of those cars. I can still remember the first day that we started it out in the street by our shop. And from then on, the feeling of the engine and right there, the vibrations, the heat, the smells, I was just roped in. It still gives me the goosebumps. So we ran a few years with Joe Barry's car, the 01 at Star and Lee. I think we won a race, but it was tough back then. I mean, I raced against Eddie West, Bentley, Howie Brown, Larry Record. I was racing against them guys, and I was just a kid. And
how old were you, Russ?
I was 19, my first race in a Super.
Wow.
And yeah, especially I remember racing against Gary Albritton at Star Classic, and It was a little overwhelming, but I was up for the challenge. And once I drove a super, that's all I wanted to drive. And then Joe, his wife was sick, and he was going to take a break from racing for a little bit. So we parked that car, and I didn't know what the future held. And then Jimmy Timmons asked me to drive a car that he had, the 427. I think it was it was a Howard Conkey show car super that he ran at Star. And so we teamed up, and we ran a couple years with that car doing Star and Lee. And then Eddie Shea came on board as a pretty heavy sponsor. And he bought a new Freddie Graves car, and that's when we started doing decent. And then we ran Star and Lee locally.
Was that the red 27, red and black 27?
Yep, the red and black 27. And a couple of years into the Shea Timmons deal, I think we won our first ISMA race, which was St. Croix up in Canada. And so the late 90s, we were running really good with that car, and Eddie got more involved and bought another Graves car, a twin to the one that we had. He just thought we needed a new car, but for some reason that car was exactly the same, but I don't even think it ever won a race compared to the old car. And we just kept, we started doing Oswego, running the local races here, some ISMA races. And then Freddie Graves had built a new independent car. He built two of them, I believe. We got one, and I think John Teresi got one. And that car ran really good at Oswego. We never really did go with a wing, but at Oswego, the car was really good. It felt really good. We won a few races at Oswego with it. I think we finished second in the Classic once. Then we ended up wrecking that car at Oswego. And so I did 10 years with Timmons and Shea. The night we wrecked it, it was one of the big 100 lappers or something, and I had passed Doug Dodaro and Mike Muldoon, the two top dogs at the time. And we were in the lead. We were in the lead when something broke coming down the front stretch, and we put it into the turn one wall, and that car was destroyed, no good, junk. And I don't know, I'm not quite sure what happened. I'm not proud of it, but that night I walked away from the Shea Timmons deal. I wish it went differently, but I was just frustrated having one of the best races of my life, and the car broke. But we had a good 10 years. And then it just so happened the following week, I guess Bentley couldn't make a race at Lee driving for Dunnigan, and Paul had called me up and asked me if I wanted to drive the 29 that Bentley was driving. And I was like, it's kind of nerve-wracking to fill the shoes of that guy. But it might as well be me. So I went for that, and we raced Lee. It was like 4th of July weekend on a Monday or something, and it was a change. It was awesome being with Brian Allegresso and Paul Dunnigan and them guys. They're a great group of guys. Everything was top notch, and it just spiraled from there. Then we did 10 years with Paul Dunnigan before he passed away. So I was with that team for 10 years. And Paul passed away in 2005, I believe it was. Yep. And then the team took a break. And then I did a little bit of part-time stuff. I drove Scott Martell's car a few times. Howie Lane had a car I drove a few times. And then it was like 08, 09, Jeff Holbrook was putting together a team, and he wanted to build me a new race car, and Brian Allegresso was working for him. So Brian built a brand new super for Holbrook for me to drive, which we ran 4 or 5 years. We won a couple of that 11 and 12 Star Classic with that car. And I think you
also won a championship
in
2011 with it also.
Championship too. And we had a lot of fun doing that with Brian and Jeff and John Kaloka. The whole team, we always had fun, but I was blessed to be with all these great people and great equipment, which is, it makes it much easier. I was very fortunate, and I realized that, to be able to drive these race cars with these people. And then once Jeff hung up his team, I did a little more part-time driving with Scott Martell. And then John Kaloka, who was with the Holbrook team, he was building a car. It was like 4 years ago, and he asked me if I wanted to drive it. And I still, I'm getting older, and but I still feel good, and I still love racing. I still get the goosebumps when a super starts. So sure, why not? So we did the last 4 years with John. We did some ISMA races. We did the Oswego stuff. The Nest Series the last 3 years or so. But I got to thank John he wanted me to drive his race car, but I wanted to kind of stay local. We did the whole traveling scene for a while, and it wears you down, and you got a business. And nowadays it's, to get crew guys to travel and the expensive hotels. And so I just kind of wanted to race around here locally. We had the opportunity with the new series starting up, and John came out here. It was either 3 or 4 years straight. We ran his car. We ran at Oswego sometimes. Really nice car. We were close, but we never really hit the setup. And then last week at Star, I won't get into it too much, but John had a disagreement with the Ness officials, and
I heard a story about that, but if you don't want to get into it, we won't get into it, though.
yeah, I'll touch it a little bit. I didn't totally see it happen, but it was a long day, and John drives 6 hours out here for me to race. It was a Sunday, and the divisions before that, the Pass Tour, the Modifieds, and the Pro Stocks, like their races were like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. They had yellows and reds, and it was a long day. It was a long day, and then come time, our feature goes. 75 laps went off pretty quick, and I know John and the guys wanted to hit the road and get home. Where everybody else around there lives an hour or two, and them guys got to drive all night to get home. And the tech guys come around, and they wanted to pull our gears. And John says, I believe he said, look at our tack. It was like 6,700. Because we don't need to pull our gears. He said, I just want to go home. And I guess it spiraled from there. I wasn't standing there, so I can't say much more. The tech people and John had a disagreement. And at that point, I think John said he wasn't going to come back here and run Ness. And Ness kind of said, that's the rules. And everybody's treated the same. And I respect that as well. And I respect John for believing in his beliefs. And so he's not coming back this way this year anyways. And so I had bought a car last year. Dave Dugan called me, hey, let's go down to Pennsylvania and buy 2 of Saucony's old cars. Doritas has them. He wants to sell them as a package. Everything he owns, really cheap. The cars are really good motors, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always looking to make a buck. And it seemed like I could buy it and sell it and make money. And then it's a race car too, so it was interesting. It was a spur of the moment deal. So me and Dave, we got trailers and we headed to Pennsylvania, and we bought the 2 driving cars that Saucony had, and I got it back to the shop, and it's a pretty cool car. And Brian Allegresso worked on this car when he worked full time for Lou in 06, I think it was. And the car had a fresh motor, all the parts, and it just looked good sitting in my garage. So I really didn't speed up to sell it. And I liked working on it. And so we built a new body, freshened the whole thing up, made a few changes. And then the end of last year, to help support the Nest Series, I let Keith Morrow drive it. It's a Star Classic, just to put another car in the field. And then another friend of mine, Brian Roby, I let him run it at White Mountain because I was driving the 41 and it had a throttle issue, and unfortunately it ended up in the wall. And so that was that. And then Brian Allegresso, Butch Valley, New England Motor Racing, they helped fix it up and made some changes. And then I just started liking the car more and more, and it looked good in my garage. So we built a new body, freshened the whole car up, and I wanted to try it once or twice this year, and then what went down last week, and so now I guess I'm a car owner, and I haven't owned a race car since 1983. And we're gonna do the Nest thing, and I'm not up for traveling with it. Whether I drive the 41 anymore, he wanted to hit a few ISMA races and some Oswego races, so I don't know what the future holds as far as that is concerned, but I know I'm going to run the rest of the year in the Nest thing, local racing, and just have fun. You know, even when we sucked before, we had fun at the races. So
Right.
as long as we're at the races, it's all good.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. A quick my career right there.
Yeah, there's a career, but man, you've left out a lot though, and then we got to fill in some gaps now, Woody. So you got 52 total ISMA wins. Okay, you've won everywhere across the country, from the Midwest to the Northeast. Hell, you might even won down south.
We won at Volusia and Concord.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
Southern National, we won in the Carolinas.
Yep.
We got them 3 down south. Yeah, no, we pretty much covered the East Coast.
Yeah,
And out to Michigan. We ran
Yep.
Phoenix one year. We didn't win, but we raced there. We won a few in Canada. So
yeah, for sure.
It's been a good ride, and I'm still riding it. I still feel good. I'm 61 years old. I don't feel it. I still think I'm doing okay driving, and it still excites me, and all my friends are there. So I'll do it till I don't feel that.
So out of all the wins that you've had, Star League, up in Canada, down south, what is that one win that sticks out still in your head that's like, man, I'm so glad, like I'm pumped that I won this race?
That's a tough question, but I would have to say
hey, no judgment here. All right, it's a no judgment.
I think I know
zone.
what you might say. It was one of the Sandusky races. We lost a motor earlier in the day. I think we missed warm-ups and didn't get in through the heat. I think we ran the Concy, started in the back, finished first or second in the Concy.
Yep.
Which put us starting at the rear of the field, and lo and behold, we won the freaking race. It was that was pretty special. The car was working great, and to change a motor. The Diane cars were a little complex as far as plumbing. They had more oil lines and fuel lines, and like we changed motors in the Shays car at Star Speedway in 40 minutes. But to change a motor in one of them cars, it took us like 4 hours. Just everything was so sophisticated, and everybody helped, and it's just amazing to go out and run the race and win with nothing falling off or leaking. Or that race was very special. Another one that really stands out is the Toledo. The first time ISMA went there, we won, and that track was really cool and fast. I love that track. We won a couple times there, I think. There's just so many. We had one other special weekend. It was like 1998. We won Lee on Friday night, Star on Saturday, and Holland ISMA race on Sunday. So 3 races in one weekend. That was a pretty special weekend.
What about your win at Oswego?
Those were special too. It's hard to pick the best one, but Oswego is, when I first went there in Joe Barry's car as a rookie, it was intimidating. It was like Indianapolis to me, going in that front gate, and I had never even been to Oswego before I raced there.
Purley said the same thing when he was on last year too. He said the same thing. He never been to the track before, and it didn't. First time he's there, he's racing the track. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it was all the Oswegos was special. Our first ride out to Oswego, we had a school bus hauler, and it came from Oswego. It might have been a Mike Rizzo, I'm not sure, but it was a school bus with ramps in it. Not a big fancy hauler like they have today. And we built a plywood roof in the back so we could fit it in with the ISMA wing. So we had this, it looked like a camper, a school bus with a big plywood extension roof in the back. But our first trip out, we blew a rear tire and we just kept going. It blew the whole inner wheel well out. It took us like 10 hours to get to Oswego, and it should have taken us like 6. We ran out of fuel a few miles from the track. We put methanol in it, and we got it barely running. We limped into the track, and then we come in the front gate, and our roof was too high, and it tore the top of our roof off when we come in through the front entrance. So that's all true story, and that was our Oswego debut. And then, we get there kind of late and all the shit we had to go through getting there. But no, when I walked in that place, I was just in awe. It was like Indianapolis, which I've never been to, but it was pretty special to think I was there racing. And at the time, we were running. They had Conceys, Classic Weekend. I think there was 2 Conceys. It was a lot of good cars, good competition, but we had some decent runs at Oswego. I think we had 2 poles at Oswego in the classics, one in Dunnigan's car, and then I driving Holbrook's car, which was the Mike Muldoon car. That was special, winning 2 poles in the Oswego Classic. That was, you're going against the best of the best, and those were special moments. Couple seconds in the Classic. Finished second to Eddie B and Doug Dodaro. Those were, even though we finished second, those are pretty special races. 200 lap race, and I got so many races, special races. They're all special. It's just just love it all, and just it's hard to that Sandusky one sticks out though.
Yeah,
to me.
That's good. Don't do that because of me now. All right, don't.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. There was some tough competition there, and to go there and didn't do what we did, start in the back and win, and we won in style. I think we did. I think we had them covered. Brake rotors glowing, and it's just that was a real team effort to do that. It takes a whole team. It's not just the driver or the race car; it's the whole package. And that weekend was the whole team.
What was it like working on that Dunnigan? Just driving for Dunnigan, but you had Brian, there, and you had the whole team. Like when those cars showed up, man, they showed up just top notch, just set to kill every time they showed up to the track, no matter where it was at. And I mean, like, I know it, like I'm a former crew member, and I would watch you guys, and it was just like, man, those guys, they just got their shit together, man. I mean, what was that like during that era?
It was 10 great years. I didn't like them until I drove for them, honestly. I figured they were the best, and they had the best, and they did the best, and they were the guys to beat. And then once I got the opportunity, it's just, I could see why they were what they were. Paul Dunnigan loved supers and racing, and he was 100% supporter of ISMA, bringing 2, 3, 4 cars sometimes. I've seen him give parts to people and money so they could race, and they're a great group of guys. And, no matter what division, what year it is, you're going to have a team that sticks out, and they had it all, Brian Allegresso, and that attracts more talented people there to work on the cars and help. And yes, the financing was pretty much unlimited. So they were the guys to beat, and I was proud to be part of it. You're going to have those people, and people are not going to like it, but I was in it, and I'm glad I was the one to be there. It was fun, it was fun.
Yeah.
Even if we wrecked, the cars would be junk, and Paul Dunnigan would be laughing at Brian and say, "Brian, you got your hands full this week, fix these things." So it was a character. It was special, them 10 years. Yeah, he was a character, but he supported racing. There's no question about it. And we all miss him, but you're going to have those teams that everybody don't like because they're doing good, but they put the effort in. a lot of these
Mhm.
races are won in the garages, in my opinion, and your preparation. And they worked hours and hours and hours, day and night on those cars. Yeah, it was Brian's job, but Brian couldn't do it all alone. There was a lot of volunteer guys helping out there, and
Right.
they just had the whole package going. So it was great. It was a great 10 years that I was with them.
Yeah.
It, it's part of my life forever.
Yep. So, Star Classic, you hold a record for the most Star Classic wins. Obviously that's your home track. That place means a lot to you. Is there any Star Classic that sticks out that was like that you won that that's like that got you excited also?
They are all special in their own ways. My memory's pretty shitty nowadays, and I can't remember all the details. There was
Yeah.
They were all special. Some of the second places I had was special. Running second to Bentley, I had a couple, 2, 3 seconds, 4 seconds in the classic as well, and I can't pick one out in particular. No,
Right.
they were all special in their own way. Not easy, not an easy task. You're going around there in 11 seconds. A lot's happening in those 200 laps, and
Oh yeah.
some of them you got to thank. Do you pace yourself? That's the worst thing. I hate starting up front because you got to pace yourself. I'd rather be chasing.
Right.
And,
So is there a race where you let one get away that you remember, like, man, I screwed up, like I should have went like lap traffic type thing? I'm just spitballing where like I should have went high and I stayed low. Is there one race that sticks out in your head where you let one get away?
I can't say there's one that sticks in my head, but yet there was a lot of them, but I can't think of a special one. It's like when I pull up to a toll booth, sometimes I pick the right groove, and sometimes I'm stuck behind some idiot that drops his money out the window and he's got to sit there. I've had it happen. When you race as much as we have, you're going to have, drivers aren't perfect. We all make mistakes, and you pick the wrong lane and it just doesn't work out. But I can't think of any in particular that really stick out.
Gotcha. So you had, dominance.
Sure, I had plenty.
Yeah, you had dominance in the ISMA championships. You've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 championships. You won in ISMA. You went on a stretch from 94, 96, 97, and 99. You won 4 championships in 5 years. Literally, that is unbelievable. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 6 years. I'm sorry. You won 4 championships in 6 years. Obviously, that was all with Paul. Was you guys just set to kill that year? Was it just the cars, just everything was clicking during those years?
Yeah, everything was clicking. And one year that's really special was 97. I wrote it down because I was going to bring it up. We ran, I'm not a average figuring guy, but in 97 between ISMA, Lee, and Star, Oswego, we had a 1-point average finish. We ran every single race. We finished no worse than 4th. We had 14 wins, 7 seconds, 4 thirds, and 3 fourths. No wrecks, no DNFs, and
Wow.
that's a year that that only comes around once, and everything's going your way. Nothing's breaking. The crew's doing. You made the right choices on the track. A lot of luck involved. A lot of preparation, and that year was, that was a really special year to. And back then there was we were racing against a lot more cars, a lot of great drivers in that era.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the next year you'll do stuff the same way and do terrible. I've experienced that as well. So I don't know quite if luck is a thing or what, but some years you breeze through, and other years you do the same exact thing and try even harder the following year, and nowhere near the same results. Right. So that is just how it goes, I guess.
Yep.
But that year was special.
So Russ, I want to ask you a question here, and no right or wrong answer or anything like that. Where do you see the future of super modifieds going? Big block super modifieds.
Obviously, it's spiraling down. I don't like to say that, but
Either do I. Either do I.
because I've seen it when I was in its premiere, and I think all the groups, whether it's Oswego, ISMA, MSS, or the new Nest thing, it's a struggle for all of them. I don't like the outlook, to be honest, and I don't know the answers either. I mean, a super modified, they're a custom race car. It's not like you can buy a chassis and buy all the parts to bolt on like a dirt modified or a sprint car or a pro stock. Right. I think that hurts it. And the talent of guys that used to build supers is disappearing. Not too many young kids coming into the racing world that could bend up tubing and notch tubing and have the desire to do so. I don't like where it's looking, but I sure don't have the answers either. It's so expensive. But supers, big block supers, are the ultimate race car in my opinion. But I don't like where any of it's heading, and I don't have the answers. I'm glad I'm not a promoter, but I just hope we can keep it going a little longer. And who knows? Maybe we're on the bottom of the slide and things could change and improve. That's what we got to hope for.
Yep, absolutely. I 100% agree. Would you ever drive? Al Miller asks me is asking you a question. He says, would you ever run a 350 super modified at Star or Oswego?
I actually owned one a couple of years ago. I had put one together for my son to drive, and then we lost interest in it. We just thought it was too much work. I ran it at Star in practice a few times on a couple of weekdays. We went up there and practice on weekends when there was no racing. So I have driven them. I would if it was a good car. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of getting in strange cars because I got hurt in a strange car. You just get used to a car and knowing a car, and I was never running around looking for rides to try this car or that car. But I wouldn't rule out nothing. It's still a super. They don't have quite they look fast in the stands, and the fans probably don't even know the difference between a big block and a small block. But the excitement factor for a driver, there's a little more in a big block, obviously, with more horsepower. But yeah, no, I would never rule that out. Okay. I live week by week.
So Rollo from Ohio, he asks a question. How close were you to calling it quits after the big wreck subbing for Timmy J in the Soul 32?
That was probably that was a violent wreck that I think about often, and I was more wanting to go race because I wouldn't want to leave like that. So I was itching to get back in it and go racing just to get it over with. And same thing in 1998 when we crashed at Orange County Speedway. I was running third or fourth. Me and Joey Payne were battling. We were both up there in ISMA points, and it was a hot night. I caught Keith Martell's right rear, and I ended up in the wall. I was driving the 29, and I took Joey Payne with me, and the radiator got ruptured, and I got hot water burns on my legs, third-degree burns, and I didn't finish the rest of the year. And I had to come back from that. And the following year, the race was at the first ISMA race. My first race of the year was at that track, which we raced and finished fifth, I think. And then the following night, we ran Southern National, my second night back, and we won. So after both those wrecks where I got injured, I was more wanting to get back at it, just to prove to myself I could still do it, and I still love doing it. I might need my head examined. I've been hurt a few times, but I still I still love doing it.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a risk we take, whether it's car racing or whatever you do. It's an addiction. I heard someone say earlier. You did, I think.
Yeah,
It's an addiction once you
Yeah.
are roped in, and it's hard to let go.
yep.
I
it sure
still
is.
enjoy it. So after the 2 wrecks, I wanted to get back more than ever, just to do it.
So Laura Wood Combs asks a question. Well, it's kind of a question for everybody, but kind of directed towards you. Anyone have any connections to get Russ to try a dirt sprint or NHRA funny car? That's what he wants to do.
I've always said I'd love to try a funny car.
No
when the-
kidding.
And then the Nationals are at New England Dragway, which is down the street from Star Speedway. My father used to take us to those when we were young kids, and I still they stayed away from New England Dragway for a while, but the last 4 or 5 years they've been back there, and those things are just totally amazing. It's just that would be a rush. If I had anything on my bucket list, it would be to try one of them things.
Yeah.
It'll never happen, but they're so cool, and just being around them, and even in the grandstands, that when they go down the track, you can just feel the horsepower. It's crazy, unbelievable. But that would be something. I don't know. I'd like to try a dirt car, but with nobody looking, because I've never raced dirt, and it would be exciting. I don't know how I would do, but it would be cool to try. I'm always up for trying stuff. But
we've had a couple super modified guys out of Ohio. They've raced some dirt sprint cars. Pat Schulich, I know you remember him.
Yeah,
he raced
yeah.
dirt sprint cars. Denny Fisher raced dirt sprint cars. They did okay. Tyler Schulich, the super modified driver now, he drives a dirt sprint car on Fridays out at Attica whenever the ISMA is races and conflicting with them. But yeah. So what is it? Dave McKnight's driving a dirt sprint.
Yeah, he's doing one. Yep, I've been seeing him.
I think Lichty is too.
Yeah, Mike is too. Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's a race car. It's different.
Right.
It's cool stuff. Just the time and opportunity to do it. But I've always told my family and friends a funny car would be like really cool.
That's the one you want to do, huh?
Yeah, it'll never happen, but we'll stick with it'd be cool to do.
Okay, so all right, Russ. I always ask everybody a few questions at the end to wrap this up, and it's just some goofy questions and stuff like that. So, when you first started racing, who was your inspiration to? Who'd you look up to as a kid or as a driver?
My first race car number was number 50, and it was a Bobby Gahan. He raced pro stocks in the area, and he just always had the coolest looking, fast sounding cars. His cars had a unique sound to it, and he was kind of a low bucker, but he did really well. And I guess I would have to say it was him, because that was my first race car number because of him. And I really didn't see a lot of super racing. I only saw them a few times before I raced, so I really didn't have any super modified or modified heroes. It was just pro stocks around the area. So I would have to say it's Bobby Gahan, number 50. That was my first race car number.
All right. So for me, I like these Welch fruit snacks, but is there a snack that Russ Wood has to have at the house? Is there something that he really he goes to the store? I know you're on the road constantly, but whenever you go to the store, grocery store or the gas station, you see that snack, or you have to get it. Do you have any vices?
Well, I go through spurts and eat, and some years I try to cut back and lose a few pounds, and other years I like to eat. But
me too.
No, I can't say I really have a favorite. Like at the house, I grab cinnamon Pop Tarts. I grab a pack and go to work. So I would have to say those. Yeah, I'm not a big candy person, but I like Pop Tarts.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see here. What was another question that I always ask? Let's see here. I don't know. And nothing more comes to mind or anything like that. I've already asked you. You pretty much answered all the other questions already. So, new car coming out. When's that new car coming out?
We were gonna race this past Sunday at White Mountain, and they called it because of weather. So I think
There
it's
it is.
in 2 weeks, a Thursday at Thunder Road in Vermont.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna try to practice it possibly this Friday night or Saturday at Star, weather pending. But it's a pretty cool car. Brian Allegresso's been down to the house a few times, looked at it, helped with the fuel system, and he's had some input on it. And he kind of likes the car too. He worked on it in 06 when he worked full time for Lou.
Yeah.
And it's a different car. It's unique how it was built. It's really low, and it's got a few other unusual things, the way it's built that Danny Drinan come up with. So it's a pretty cool looking car. We built a whole new body and painted it up, did the rear end. It's fresh and ready to go. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. Something different.
So you went with the 29, huh?
I did. Yep. It's a tough toss up of what number to get, but every car I drove was great people, great numbers. But I would say that, a lot of my better races were in the 29. So
Gotcha.
I kind of like the number, how it looks too. So we'll go with that.
Yep. So Rollo helped me out here. Thank you, Rollo. I appreciate that. As a drawing a blank here, I don't have my notes in front of me. Normally I do, but what's your favorite beverage?
I bounce around. I haven't figured that out yet in all these years. I'll usually have a Captain Morgan and Diet Coke or a Mick Ultra.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I would bounce between them two or both. But if the races, I'll take whatever people hand me. We used to have some Canadian friends that brought their stuff down. When we raced Oswego, and
oh yeah,
those had some kick. But
no kidding.
Yeah, I'm not too picky on that end of things. I really just drink at the races, or if I go out to eat, have a drink or two. But I really don't have anything during the week.
I mean, you could have said Mountain Dew. You could have said water. You could have said Coca-Cola. I mean,
yeah. As far as sodas, Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. That's your drink.
Yeah,
huh?
that's just like the taste of it. Yep.
Yep.
Other than that.
Yeah, I'm a Captain and Diet myself type of guy too. So, and I'm down here in the Virgin Islands right now, so the home of rum. So yeah, I'd probably overindulge a little bit on rum. I thank God I had about an hour just to sit on the couch and USA for a little bit. I went on a snorkeling trip today. So
the island drinks go down good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, especially when they're fruity. But
right?
Yeah, so. All right, Russ. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Russ. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Appreciate it.
Okay, all right. I already did the favorite snack. One more question, Russ. What's your favorite music?
I just hit scan, and when something comes up I like, I stop on it. It could be Stairway to Heaven, or it could be some country song. So
Gotcha.
I like music, but I don't know all the. I just like, if I like the sound and rhythm of it, I stop the radio. So It could be an oldies, it could be a country, it could be rock and roll, whatever. I hit scan and stop it when I hear something I like.
When was the last concert you went to? Who'd you go see?
Actually, the last two concerts were Jelly Roll.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah, 2 years ago we took my father for his birthday, because he loves Jelly Roll. The Son of a Sinner song. My father says some of that reminds him of himself or his life, and we took my father, and I think one of my brothers went, and we took my father. My father loved it. I was gonna go to another one, but it got canceled. So I went. The last concert was Jelly Roll.
Okay.
Other than that, I went to Boston when I was younger, and that was it. Really, not a big concert guy.
Yeah. So. All right, Russ, this is it. That's it. We're done. Everybody,
All right.
more asking Russ questions. Russ has got to get back to work.
I'm good, but whatever.
Yeah. Russ, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it so much. You are a legend, and I don't care if you admit it or not. You're in the New England Auto Racers Hall of Fame, and you've won countless of races. You've entertained my childhood as a kid and as an adult. A lot of people looked up to you, including myself, and we just love the way you handled yourself around the pits. And I never got a chance to meet you, so maybe one day I'll go ahead and come up and shake your hand one day.
Yeah, definitely hope so. But yeah, just doing what we like to do. I love the sport like you do, and everybody listening. Let's just keep it going.
Yep, that's it. All right, Russ. Well,
Thanks
thank you
for
very
having
much.
us.
Yep, no, thank
I'll
you
see
for
you.
coming on, Russ, and I'll see you later, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Dave, we got it in, man.
We did get it in, Willie. We got it in good, and I got all my technical difficulties figured out. I don't know what button I hit, but when I went to go hit a button, everything disappeared from the screen that I was looking at. I had to go back and see what button I hit, and then I hit that button, and it all came back up.
Well, that's good. I just want to go ahead and tell everybody before you guys all log off of here because there's no more guests. Please like the show. Hit that like button, please. I beg you guys. Follow Redline Radio LLC. Follow Tight End Loose Out. Please, people. It helps us be able to go ahead and get these shows out to you guys. It helps Dave. It helps me. It helps everybody. So I'm getting close to 1,000 followers on the Tight End Loose Out. I think Dave's got like 5,000 followers on Redline Radio LLC. I'm just joking. I don't think Dave do you got 5,000 followers, Dave?
6,500 on that page, and then on our new Redline network page, we got over 1.2 thousand. So I want to grow that. I want to grow that too as well.
Keep liking this, folks. Get over there to Redline Radio. Get liking that. Get over to Tight End Loose Outs page. Like that page. Thank you very much, Russ. I appreciate you, brother. I hope everything's going good with you, man. I'll have to see you whenever I come up to Sandusky here in July. But hit that like button. Share the show. Get it out there, folks. Get this show out there to all your super modified friends, all your racing friends. Let everybody know that we have a super modified podcast. A lot of people know about it already, but let's get everybody to know about it. I share the hell out of it. You know, I'm going to say what I wanted to say. I share the shit out of this show. The reason why the intro music goes so long is because I got my phone, and I got my phone right here, and I'm doing this, share to every super modified social media page and letting everybody know that about this show. So please, folks, share the show, like the show, like this episode, like the pages. We're not asking for much. We're just asking for a click. That's it. Literally takes 2 seconds. It's not that hard, everybody. I seen that the likes and the loves went up. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Frank. I appreciate that. Al, always, man. I think you're biased though, Al. I love you, brother, and I appreciate it, man. I really do. Dave, you want to get the sponsors in now?
We can get them in now if you want.
Yep, let's roll with the sponsors right now.
All right, you want to do them since you don't know what order they go in?
Just whatever you flash up on the screen. There you go. Catalone's Pizzeria, folks. You'll never find a meatier calzone than at Catalone's. That's right. Based out of Hannibal, New York. Home of the stuffed crust pizza. All right. Next one. There we go. Kingsley's Mower Service, based out of Oswego, New York. His phone number is 315-751-1160. That's Kingsley Landscaping and Mowing. Also, too, if you use promo code I Love the Black Guy, you will get a 10% discount on your lawn getting cut. You go ahead, you call up the phone, call up that number. Again, it's 315-751-1160. He answers the phone and says, hello. You just say, I love the black guy, and he's going to know that you want your grass cut, and he's going to give you a 10% discount. So there you guys go. There's the next one. Al Miller, AJ Miller Racing. Al Miller, it came back on board for sponsorship this year. Al is a 350 super modified driver and race team. I got to meet his wonderful wife last year at Oswego Classic in the pits. She's a big supporter of her husband and his dream of driving a 350 Super Modified. So, Al, thank you very much for all the help that you do here with the show. Al sent me a nice check for $69, and ironically, his number is 69. So, Al, thank you very much. It means a lot, that you're there. You're helping out the show. Your comment, you're watching it all the way through, and I appreciate that, brother. I really do. Next one, Atkins Glass. Atkins Glass, based out of Sandusky, Ohio. Their phone number is 419-625-8421. They can take care of all your automotive glass needs and RV needs also as well. They're big, huge supporters of super modified racing across the Midwest. So with Randall and Courtney Atkins, I'm telling you guys right now, go ahead and support them right back. We get these sponsors, folks. You guys have to support them back. They're supporters of the super modifieds. Let's support them also as well. Next, Rupert's Party Rentals. The best parties start with us. Phone number is 315-532-4304. You can also find them, email them also as rupertspartyrentals@yahoo.com. They have tables, they have chairs, they have tents, they have dunk tanks, they have bounce houses. They have anything that you might need for a party. Go ahead and get a hold of Rupert's Party Rentals. Go ahead and they're based out of Oswego, New York area and Fulton, New York area. They can go ahead and travel around to you. Let them know that Tight In Loose Out sent you, and you get yourself a 10% discount by saying Tight In Loose Out. And the sponsor of sponsors, and I have to make an announcement right now, but let's get through the sponsor first. Fisher Custom Printing. Their phone number is 440-371-8424. They're based out of Wellington, Ohio. They do all types of vinyl lettering and any type of cups that you might need, T-shirts you might need. They letter race cars, they letter businesses, any type of promotional type stuff that you might want. Go ahead and get a hold of Fisher's Custom Printing. They did my banner that you guys normally see behind me. And also, too, with the new logo, we have new stickers coming out and we have a new banner coming out. And that's all brought to you by Fisher Custom Printing. They're shipping it to me. They're shipping the banner down here to me. Some stickers are going to stay up north. I know Al Miller's probably on here. So, Al, if you're on, you got a couple stickers coming your way. I already talked to Bethany. Literally, I was talking to Bethany as I was driving to the airport, to go ahead and fly down here to the Virgin Islands. So she said it's going to be getting sent out. I think it might have got sent out either Friday or Saturday. So, so Fisher Custom Printing, everybody. Go ahead and give them a call. I'm telling you right now, they ship them to me to Florida. They'll ship it to you to New York. They'll ship it to you to Michigan. They'll ship it to you to North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, wherever you're from. Get a hold of Fisher Custom Printing, and they can take care of all your vinyl needs that you have for your business or for your race car. Okay. So that being said, Dave, I really thought that was a great show. We had a hiccup. My speaker wasn't working. I'm proud of myself. I fixed it on my own. I was cussing up a storm. I'm calling Jean. She's down there in the pool having a couple good old boys. She's not answering her phone. She answered it like 5 minutes into the show. I'm texting her back like, yes, I got it figured out. I got it fixed. So she's going to give me an attaboy once I get off the show. But Dave, I personally want to say thank you so much for all your hard work and everything that you do for this show to make it successful. I appreciate it, man. And I can't wait to see what we got coming up next. I do know next week's guest, and there's a lot of people that logged off. I don't know. Should I tell them?
I would throw a teaser up on the page. I wouldn't tell them throw a teaser up on the page. Let them get their lickings until next Wednesday.
Let's just say this, folks. If you guys thought Dave Schulich, well, hold on here. Let's just go through the lineup here. All right, we had Greg Furlong, We had JJ Andrews. We had Dave Schulich. We just had Russ Wood. Let me tell you something, folks. We are on a hot streak. We got, I'm not going to tell you. You guys are going to have to wait. But it's another big name. Another huge name that's going to be on the show. I want to confirm it with them 100%. But I'm telling you guys right now, this is another huge, huge, huge name. And you guys are going to have to stay tuned. And
like the Celtic Warrior would say, we deliver banger after banger after banger.
That's it. We're bringing in bangers, man. We're bringing in bangers. So hopefully you guys stay tuned. And who's coming in? Zach said thanks again. No, Zach, thank you. I appreciate it. People like you coming on, wanting to do the show, makes this show successful. And we're just trying to make super modified racing successful. All right, everybody. So just know that. I know I get in my tizzies. I get upset. I, throw my little hissy fits, but it's the passion. It's this right here. All right. It's that right there. The love for this division and this series that are all going on. Like I said it last week, I grew up with this. This is all I know. All I know. My wife knows when these races start, life stops at the Patterson house. I'm flying home Saturday. I got to go from Fort Lauderdale, which is an hour and a half away from my house, drive past my house, go an hour north, go pick up my dog, come back an hour south. So I got about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive to get back to my house on Saturday. And why am I going to be flying like a chicken with my head cut off? It's opening day at Oswego. So just letting you guys know right now, I love super modified racing. And I think you guys all know that. But with that being said, Dave, again, thank you so much for being such a huge help. Thank you for being patient with me today, getting on the show. I actually messaged Dave just before 6 o'clock. I'm like, dude, I'm on. No, yeah. And I'm like, oh, shit. Show don't start till 7. Like I said, I had a couple rum punches. So I had to gather myself back together again. So I love you, brother. And you take care, man. And I will see you guys next Wednesday, 7 o'clock from the Patterson house in Naples, Florida.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week, 7 to 8:30, right here at Redline Network, Redline Radio LLC. Go join in Tight and Loose Out on Facebook, Redline Radio on Facebook, and Redline Network. Have a good one, everyone. Enjoy your week.
Peace.